Dreams and visions. They are so intriguing, especially end-time dreams and visions. I could talk about the tribulation dream I had where all food on earth was just rot. If you had ingredients to make anything, they were molded and rotten. And this rot symbolized all the salt of the earth being gone. You see, as lovers of Christ, we are the salt of the earth. When there's no salt, you cannot preserve things and make them last. Without salt, things corrode and rot. Also in this tribulation dream I had, the only thing someone could put in their stomach and not have it be instant rot was living flesh of men. You see, if someone wanted to eat, they had no choice but to take a bite out of a man or woman while they were still alive. And I have no doubt that during the horrible 7 years of tribulation, that will begin so very shortly, by the way. In those 7 years, men and women will devour one another as if they were zombies plucked right out of the movies. But I don't want to talk about that particular dream today. I'm being led to talk about the dream I was given about the black mirror. And if you have had these dreams that come from the Holy Spirit, then you know that they are so real that you don't even know it was a dream or vision until you have came to or you have awoken from it. And almost always there's an unclean entity in your presence. I'm not going to talk about why there's always an entity there when you receive these teachings or prophecies. I'll address that in another teaching. So this dream, this black mirror dream, starts with my vision floating as if I'm a spirit just along for the ride, like a floating camera. I first see a house in the suburbs. The setting looks like 1950s or earlier. There's a moving truck outside the house. It's very old to me, but for the time, it's actually new. I watched two men carry an old floor model television. And I mean old. I didn't even know it at the time of this dream, but televisions used to have a round screen, just like this one. There was a little old lady guiding the two men into her home with her new television. They set her television down, turned it on, and I watched a time lapse of history unfold in this house. As the TV sat there in this living room, I watched as the TV changed, new model after new model. And as the TV changed, I could see the surroundings change. Families sitting in front of the TV together. Sometimes people watching alone. Sometimes I would see a child sitting alone. And during this long time lapse leading up to modern televisions like flat screens and surround sound, I was seeing this black and white television snow, like white noise, coming out of the TV and entering the minds of everyone watching. And even though I had this dream before smartphones, I could see families not only watching the big TV in the room, but they each had a smaller TV in their hands. I did not know at the time that this was smartphones. It was complete disconnect from one another. And all of them were being hypnotized by these TVs. And it was emphasized to me that these TVs were not just televisions, but I was shown to look closer into the screen. You see, one can see their reflection in a smartphone or TV or an iPad, so long as the screen is black. So as the dream went on, and all this white noise and static snow was coming out of these black mirrors, poisoning those watching, I was suddenly pulled into the screen of the TV where I could see the origins of the broadcast. What I seen was a stage in a vast open area, and there were countless multitudes as far as the eye could see. And these people were waiting in line to go up on stage. And as they waited their turn, they were watching those at the front of the line getting their reward that they had waited so long for. But this was not a reward someone with their wits about them would want. You see, up on this big stage was a vortex of white noise, white television snow. It was twirling around and around in the center of this big stage. And there was an incredibly tall, slender man in a black suit ushering people onto the stage. He would wave the next person over to him as he stood next to this big vortex. And they would come over to him, and he'd lean over and ask, "Are you ready?" with a big smile. And the individual there would be filled with glee, saying, "Oh, yes, I'm ready." After that, he would gesture for them to make their way into this white noise, this snowy vortex. Once the person entered the vortex, their body would materialize into the white noise, but it would be a different color. And when their dematerialized body shot up into the vortex, for just a tiny moment, you could see the person's face three-dimensionally in the vortex, and their face looked happy to finally get their moment in the black mirror, the vortex. While they were in the vortex with this big smile, the tall man would raise his hands, signaling the countless multitude in the audience to cheer and applaud the individual who just accepted the white television snow and became part of it. The audience would cheer so loud for the person in the vortex, their screams shook the ground and the stage. All this happened in the course of about 10 seconds, start to finish. And once the person got their applaud, their face turned to horror as they vanished for eternity. And then the tall man would turn and motion for the next one to come. And they all just mindlessly walked over to him and accepted their turn in the vortex. And they were so happy to get it. And as this went on a few turns, suddenly the tall man noticed me standing over on stage. He gestured for me to come to the vortex, but I didn't move. Then he bent down to say something to me. That's when I came to and awoke from the dream. And I was terrified. It felt so real, like I had been there. This dream was not hard to understand. You see, there's a reason why we get our entertainment and news from a black mirror. And the Holy Spirit showed me the enemy has always planned to take over and destroy through utilizing the black mirror. TV shows and movies hypnotize even the strongest minds. TV and smartphones have single-handedly destroyed the nuclear family. They have caused so many to have a reprobate mind and become selfish with their own desires. And the black mirror convinces them that this is the right thing to do. But it gets even worse, because those who long to be famous and have their face on the black mirror, well, they almost always have to sell their soul in order to be a part of that. And that's what we saw as they stepped into the white snow. They were selling their soul for that little second in time so they could experience being famous in front of all those people. And all those people were waiting their turn, and they didn't care what it costed. They wanted their turn up there in the black mirror. The Black Mirror dream would be one of the first major teachings I received from the Holy Spirit. I didn't even know what a black mirror was at the time of the dream. It is a tool used by witches and demons, and now we know it's used by the enemy in general. I recommend, if you don't know what a black mirror is, look it up. If those listening enjoy the intrigue of dreams and visions, let me know in the comments and I'll share more. I have been blessed with countless dreams, prophecies, and visions. And those that I did not understand right away, the Holy Spirit eventually explained to me what they meant. If you do want to hear these dreams and visions and prophecies and these incredible teachings from the Holy Spirit, then make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications, because I'm just getting started.